Herkese iyi akşamlar diliyoruz. Canlı yayında yaşadığımız sorun için özür diliyoruz. Dear audiences, sorry, we are having a trouble about live broadcast. Sorry about that. So, welcome to the live broadcast of the second Turkish Music Academic Circle, Science and Arts Seminars. Our guest is so special tonight, who is Dr. Salah Eddin Maraqa'nın, and his topic is New Light on the Arab-Turkish musical exchange in the 19th century. Before presentation, I would like to give an announcement to you, which is very happy news. The Society for Ethnomusicology 2021 Louis Ibn el-Faruqi Prize for Scholarly Contributions in the Islamic World is hereby awarded to Turkish Music Academic Circle, for short TUMAC. I'm going on in Turkish here. Dünyanın en saygın müzikoloji cemiyetlerinden biri olan Kuzey Amerika merkezli Society for Ethnomusicology SEM, Türk Müziği Akademik Çevresi'nin TUMAC'ın 2021 Louis İbn el-Faruqi ödülüne layık görüldüğünü açıkladı. Ödülün komitesi TUMAC'ın çevrim içi platformunda yayınladığı makalelerden organize ettiği sempozyum, dinleti gibi bilimsel ve sanatsal etkinliklere kadar geniş bir yelpazede müzikoloji alanına sağladığı katkının önemi temelinde bu seçimi yaptığını vurguladı. Louis İbn el-Faruqi ödülü uluslararası alanda İslam dünyasına nitelikli bilimsel katkı sağlayan bilim insanlarına ve kurumlara SEM tarafından 2 yılda bir veriliyor. SEM, devlet desteği olmaksızın gönüllü bir yapı ile sürdürdüğü faaliyetlerinde gerek Türkiye'de gerekse uluslararası alanda hem bağımsız araştırmacılar hem de üniversitelere bağlı bilim insanları arasında bilgi paylaşımını kolaylaştıran saygın duruşu nedeniyle TUMAC'ın bu ödüle adaylığının gerçekleştiğine dikkat çekti. TUMAC'ın adaylığında 2018 yılından beri Türk müziği tarihi, teorisi, enstrümanları, formları, repertuarı, terminolojisi ve kaynakçasına odaklı çalışmalara yönelik vizyonu ve desteğinin de altı çizildi. SEM'in bu ödülü üzerine TUMAC'ın kurucu üyelerinden Profesör Ruhi Ayangil, TUMAC'ın mütevazi bir ortamda elinden gelenin en iyisini yapmaya çalıştığını, TUMAC'ın yaptıklarını cömertçe gören, bilen ve değerlendiren, açık fikirli ve dikkatli aydınlar tarafından verilen bu ödülü kazanmanın büyük bir onur olduğunu vurgulayarak, SEM ödül komitesine teşekkürlerimi ve sonsuz teşekkürlerimi ve en içten duygularımı tekrarlar. Bundan sonraki işbirliği ve dayanışmamızın temelini atacak olan iyi dileklerimizi ve iyi niyetlerimizi sunarım, dedi. TUMAC'ın 2021-22 akademik yılı sözcüsü, İstanbul Teknik Üniversitesi Türk Müzikisi Devlet Konservatuarı Müzikoloji Ana Bilim Dalı'nda öğretim üyesi Profesör Doktor Gözde Çolakoğlu Sarı ise ödülle ilgili olarak Türk müziğinin bilimsel olarak araştırılması, incelenmesi, değerlenmesi ve sunulması amacıyla kurulan akademik bir girişim olan Türk Müziği Akademik Çevresi, işbirliği içerisinde olduğu akademisyenlerin gönüllü ve özverili çalışmalarıyla hayat bulmuştur. Türkiye ve hatta dünyanın çeşitli üniversitelerinde görev yapan akademisyenler ve araştırmacıların çalışma azimleriyle etkinliklerine devam eden çevremizin SEM gibi saygın bir kuruluştan aldığı bu ödül bizler için büyük bir onurdur. Kendilerine teşekkürlerimizi sunarız, dedi. In English, I would like to repeat the announcement. TUMAC wins some award. The North America-based Society for Ethnomusicology announced that TUMAC had been awarded the 2021 Louis Ibn el-Faruqi Award. This award is granted once every 2 years. It recognizes the scholarly contributions of a music scholar or institution in the Islamic world. The award committee selected TUMAC on the basis of a nomination that emphasized the range of activities TUMAC had undertaken, from publishing articles to organizing symposiums and concerts. The nomination also emphasized that TUMAC is run by volunteers with no government support, and that has facilitated the sharing of knowledge among both independent researchers and university-affiliated members in Turkey and abroad. TUMAC has been presenting academic articles on Turkish music history, theory, instruments, forms, repertoire, terminology, and Turkish music bibliography online since its establishment 3 years ago. The nomination reads that they have supported one oral history project as well. The poem is a word of Sam, one of the founding members of TUMAC. Professor Ruhiye Yengel stated that it's a great honor to win this meaningful award, presented by some open-minded and attentive intellectuals who generously see, know, and judge what is being done by TUMAC, while we try to do our best with our modest resources. I would like to repeat my endless thanks and sincere feelings to you, and present our best wishes and good intentions, which will form the basis of our future cooperation and solidarity. Regarding the award, TUMAC's spokeswoman for the 2021-22 academic year, İstanbul Technical University Turkish Music State Conservatory Müzikoloji Professor Gözde Çolakoğlu Sarı said, TUMAC, an academic initiative established to achieve the scientific research, inquiry, compilation, and presentation of Turkish music, has come to life with the voluntary and self-sacrificing efforts of academicians. It's a great honor for us to receive this award from Sam. We continue our activities with the determination of academics and researchers working in various universities in Turkey and around the world. We would like to thank Sam, and we are proud to announce that we will continue our activities with the same enthusiasm, with the inspiration we received from this award. So, go back to tonight's topic. Our guest, as I told you, so special tonight with Salah Eddin Maraqa'nın. Very important topic. I would like to talk about how I met to Dr. Salah Eddin Maraqa'nın. I met him at the Kanun Festival held in Beirut, Lebanon in 2003, almost 20 years ago. When I was a third year graduate student, I was learning the Kanun from Ruhiye Yengel, and my professor took me to this festival. And at this festival, I remember Salah Eddin playing the Kanun at a very, very high level. Later, he carried out his studies in the field of musicology in Germany. At this point, I would like to talk about his short biography. Salah Eddin Maraqa'nın studied 2001 to 2007 musicology, Arabic and Islamic studies in Münster. After gaining his master's degree, he worked as a research associate at the Department of Musical Research in Würzburg and the Department of Musicology in Münster. 2013, Salah earned his doctoral degree with a work on the traditional art music in Syria and Egypt from 1500 until 1800. 2016 to 19, he worked as an editor for the DFG project Corpus Musicae Ottomanicae, and 2020 to 2021 for the project Corpus Monodicum. Since April 2021, Salah has been working as a research associate at the Department of Musicology at the University of Freiburg. Salah's main research focus is on the history and theory of music in the Middle East. He is currently studying the vocal repertoire in the Arab world from 1500 until 1900, focusing on the significance of song text collections as source for writing the history of Arabic music. So let's listen the presentation. Sorry for late.
Absolutely no problem. Thank you very much, dear Esra, for the introduction, for the kind words. And first, let me start with congratulating you and everybody at TUMAC for winning the Louis Ibn Farouqi Award 2021, which is a well-deserved prize. And you guys in TUMAC are setting a great example, which others should look up to, actually. So congratulations again. The second thing I want to mention is indeed the occasion you mentioned at which we met in Lebanon during the Qanun festival or conference on Qanun held in Beirut. You escorting Professor Ruhi Ayangil, who I salute here, and wish everything. Sending my best wishes and best greetings. And I have to mention also that another Qanun virtuoso was attending the conference, and maybe it's a chance also to say Allah rahmet eylesin, Halil Karaduman, who was there and who influenced me as well. I mean, in that meeting. So thank you for bringing these memories back, and thank you for the invitation. It's a great pleasure and honor to be part of this series, and thank you for allowing me to share some of my ongoing research with you, hear from you your ideas, your remarks, get feedback, because without this, actually, you cannot move forward with your work. As you said, I will be speaking about the musical exchange between Turks and Arabs, especially during the 19th century. I'm trying to share actually my screen. Maybe you should give me some permission to do that. I don't know if there's somebody behind the screen. Otherwise, I cannot share my screen with you. And now give me how to say a sign when I can do that. I will start anyway with my lecture. So when it's ready, I will happily share my screen with you. So compared to the 300 years before, the 19th century witnessed a remarkable lively mobility of musicians between the capital of the Ottoman Empire, as well as the major cities of the Ottoman Empire, and the other major Arab provincial cities. Arabic as well as Turkish biographical historical sources contain a good deal of information and anecdotes about Arab professional musicians, singers, personalities active within the musical domain who traveled to Istanbul, many of them, by the way, on several occasions, or even settled down there. Some of them have reportedly achieved great fame and have made students and thus a lasting impression. On the other hand, we learn of many Turkish musicians who have traveled to or through the Arab provinces, either on their own initiative or following the invitation of one of the ruling houses. So to mention some examples for Arab musicians, I apparently can share now my screen, so thank you for that. I want to start by mentioning Qanuni Umar Effendi, who, according to Ustina, must have died in the year 1870. And according to Turkish music historians, he must have left Damascus in 1830, heading towards Istanbul, where he reportedly reintroduced the Qanun, which was hitherto completely neglected and not found in music ensembles, allegedly. Edhem Effendi and Ziya Pasha were among his students. Numerous instrumental and vocal works by him, some of which are popular, have come down to us. Here is an example of manuscript kept at the Nadir Eserler Kütüphanesi with a signature 204, which contains vocal as well as instrumental repertoire. So here we have two pieces. This is the Qarjagar Mukhammas Peshrevi, and this is the Qarjagar Sama'i, both by Qanuni Umar Effendi. The second example will be Aoudi Neshat Bey, who also, according to Öztuna, probably died in the 1930s. He was a composer and a oud player. Maybe we can, I have to share the sound view as well. Sorry for that. This is a as we see here, Kemani Khayri Bey'in tarafından nota alınmıştır. Who seems to have specialized in transcribing Arab music for the Qutmani brothers for the purpose of publishing. Anyhow, let's listen to this monologue by the Egyptian actor Hassan Faiq, who died in 1980. And it has the title Sham al-Cocaine, which means sniffing the cocaine. It was like, made me pitiful. However, what I want to bring into focus today is rather the question of musical exchange between Arab and Turkish musicians, precisely the conditions particular for the 19th century that led to this lively exchange. So I'm actually more interested in the socio-cultural, economic, and obviously the political conditions. The main questions that I'm asking here is like, where did Turkish and Arab musicians actually meet? In what or which context? Which factors played an important role therein? So, I mean, we know that exchange is a reciprocal act. So I want to give examples for Turkish musicians and music in the Arab world and vice versa. So the first example that I want to give would come from Egypt. Nevertheless, I want to start with mentioning some of the main venues where Egyptians came into contact with Turkish music before starting to speak about the Khedive court as a venue for musical exchange. So we know of an active exchange happening within the walls of Sufi lodges and Sufi brotherhoods, but above all, the Mevlevi order in Egypt, in Cairo. So we know the names of numerous Mevlevi musicians since the early 16th century, actually, who traveled to Egypt and worked at the different lodges, among which the one in Cairo. So, for example, Dervish Ahmed Dede bin Lutfullah, who flourished in the 17th century, Fikri Dede, Naqshi Dede, which is a very famous one. Probably everybody knows his Ayin in Maqam Shaddi Araban, which was reportedly composed in Cairo and premiered in 1843. According to Elmas Öztuna, it counts among the masterpieces of Turkish music. Another Sufi musician or Mehdi musician is Ibrahim Rushdi Dede, Azmi Dede, Ahmed Bahauddin Dede, Ahmed Jalaluddin Dede, Shishman Ahmed Dede, Mahmoud Subhi Bey, Deli Ismail Dede, Aziz Dede. As well, we know the names also of some musicians from the Gulshani Khalwati order, like Abdi Effendi, who died at the end of the 17th century. So that's just, I mean, to keep it short. So we have the Sufi lodges and the Brotherhood as a venue. Other venue is the music theaters, or the music theaters and the casinos, the taverns and the cafes were also they were frequented also by Turkish musicians, and the military bands, especially the ones I mean, after the reformation of the army and the state in Egypt as well as in Turkey. So many Turkish musicians were invited to teach young Egyptians Western music, but of course they also knew Turkish music. So that was also one of the venues where they came together, Turkish and Egyptian musicians. Now let me come to the Khedive court. This is the picture of Muhammad Ali, whom I'm going to speak about now. During the turmoil that followed the French occupation of Egypt, which ended in 1801, an Ottoman commander named Mehmed Ali Pasha prevailed against his opponents for power. In 1805, Sultan Selim III confirmed him in his office as Wali, governor or viceroy of Egypt. As a non-local ruler, he only initially assumed the same position as the Ottoman governors of the 16th to 18th centuries. The main difference, however, to these was that Mehmed Ali succeeded in securing, perpetuating, and directly exercising his rule. He was confirmed in his office again by the Sultan for years and achieved a level of power that made it impossible for the Sultan and the central government in Istanbul to remove him from his post. Between 1830 and 1840, there was even a war between Mehmed Ali, who was striving for independent rule in Egypt and Syria, and his overlord, the Sultan. The intervention of major European powers forced Mehmed Ali to return to the Ottoman Federation. In 1841, however, the Sultan recognized in a decree the hereditary nature of the Egyptian Wali post within Mehmed Ali's family. So with this step, the Ottoman Sultan gave up his right to determine the Wali of Egypt himself. This was the basis for the establishment of the dynastic law in Egypt, which was confirmed in 1848 by the installation of Mehmed Ali's son Ibrahim and his grandson Abbas. So this is the genealogical table showing the dynasty of Mehmed Ali in Egypt. So the family thus became a ruling dynasty. Despite the secured status of Mehmed Ali's family and its strong autonomous position within the Ottoman Empire, the decree of 1841 did not mean independence for Egypt. Egypt remained a province of the Ottoman Empire and had to send an annual tribute to Istanbul. Mehmed Ali's successors traveled to Istanbul in order to be formally installed in their office. The uniformity of Mehmed Ali's ruling household did not, however, last long. In the last decade of his reign, and to a greater extent under his successors, the household was split into several dynastic branches that competed and resolved conflicts over political issues. Abbas was marked by strong opposition from the other dynastic households. Here. And Ismail also had conflicts with his relatives, especially with Mehmed Ali. Nevertheless, the Khedives were able to consolidate the dynastic order of Egypt in the years 1841 to 1879 and establish a hereditary monarchy. From the first years of Mehmed Ali's reign in 1805 until the collapse of the Khedival autocracy in the years 1876 to 1882, the political decision-making power in Egypt rested with the respective Khedivs. However, they did not exercise their authority alone, but through a loyal elite to whom they delegated their power. This elite is described as the Ottoman Egyptian elite. It consisted of the ruling family and high-ranking personalities who were called Zawat, Zevat, as well as their families. The Zevat held the highest positions in state administration and the military and carried the titles Pasha and Bey. They also enjoyed many privileges and held prestigious positions. The functions in the military and the administration were closely linked, and the change from military to administrative functions and vice versa was so frequent. This elite was Ottoman because it took part in an Istanbul-oriented elite culture that spanned the Ottoman Empire. On the other hand, it was Egyptian because it was based in Egypt, especially Cairo and Alexandria, and because it owed its livelihood and status to serving the Khedivs. The Ottoman Egyptian elite spoke Turkish, not Arabic, were dominantly Muslim, and the majority came from the central provinces of the empire of the Caucasus. Nevertheless, ethnic as well as religious solidarity played a subordinate role for the elite identity. In addition to personal political advice, the ruler also had a personal staff, which we call Ma'iyati Saniya. This staff included music bands, singers, and writers. The princes and Zevat, who had an independent household, also had a personal staff, as well musicians and singers and so on. The Khedivs favored Turkish music. The rulers of Egypt actually favored Turkish music over Arabic music, and they invited musicians and musical ensembles to come to Cairo, such as those encountered in the palaces of the Sultan and the elite in Istanbul. The following names are among the Turkish professional musicians who traveled to Alexandria and Cairo at the invitation of Egyptian Khedivs and notables, or who accompanied the Ottoman Sultan Abdul Aziz during his one and only historical visit to Cairo in 1863-64. So among these are Zekai Dede, no need to say anything about him, Mustafa Nouri Effendi, which is known as Notaji Melekset, Udi Hapet or Afet Mısırlıyan, also Tanburi Aleksan Agha, who was invited by Said Pasha, Zenop Lemonjian. He went to Cairo in 1863 and died there 3 years later as the naib player of the royal court. Ali Bey or Hanende Enduruni Kadıköylü. He accepted an invitation from the Khedive Ismail Pasha to Cairo, but he stayed briefly and returned. After repeated invitations, he went to Cairo again with Kemani Kirkor, Tanburi Kapris, Kanuni Garbis, Laftaji Andon. Then there's also Melik Effendi and Nafiz Bey, who was a Hafiz Haji Nafiz Bey, so to say. Yusuf Pasha, the very famous Yusuf Pasha, Aziz Effendi Medani Hafiz, accepted an invitation from Ismail Pasha to visit Cairo. Tanburi Jamil Bey, as well, was also invited to Cairo by Abbas Hilmi. Udi Hafiz Jamil Effendi Shekerji Ahmed was invited to Cairo by Abbas Hilmi as well in 1912, so we are beyond the 19th century now, where he taught music and oud, by the way. Asim Bey, the Miralai Gireftzan, was also invited by Abbas Hilmi to Cairo. So, I mean, we see the number of musicians that frequented the Egyptian court in the 19th century, actually in the late 19th century, so to say. Well, the Khedives were also known for surrounding themselves with or by Egyptian musicians and writers. So they did favor Turkish music, but they also encouraged Egyptian and Arab musicians and singers, and surrounded themselves by some of the leading artists of their time. So, and when they traveled to Istanbul, of course, they were escorted by these Egyptian musicians, because you cannot take Turkish musicians who are actually coming to visit you at your court to Istanbul during visits. You want to show what you have also at your court, so you take with you Egyptian musicians. So these people like Abdul Hamouli, Yusuf al-Manyalawi, and Muhammad Uthman, they all went with the Khedive to Istanbul. And there they, of course, had the chance to hear and learn Turkish music on site, and not just in the courtyard in Cairo. And we know also that in some literature they say that some maqams have been introduced into, in Cairo after these musicians have learned these maqams there. This is not a solid hypothesis, let's say, because we do have Zekai Dede, you know him, one of the most important Turkish composers of the 19th century. Between 1845 and 1858, so that was 13 years actually, he was in the service of Mustafa Fadl Pasha in Cairo. Unfortunately, we do not know much about the time or the activities of Zekai Dede during his stay in Cairo at that time. But we know that he composed countless vocal pieces or works in all possible genres, including numerous shughls, which are hymns in Arabic language.
Excuse me, Salahattin, in which period Zekai Dede stayed at the Mustafa Fazıl court?
1845 to 1853, 58, sorry.
58.
45 to 58.
And there is not much information about this period, I think.
We don't know much about his, his activities during that time in Cairo.
Thank you.
Yes, and according to Rauf Yekta, he had lessons from Shihab ad-Din Muhammad al-Hijazi. Rauf Yekta includes himself among the disciples of Zekai Dede, like Subhi Ezgi and his own son Ahmed Ersoy. So he tells us that he was a pupil, or he listened at least, or attended some classes maybe by the great Shihab ad-Din Muhammad al-Hijazi, who's the collector of the very famous song text collection Safinat al-Mulk wa Nafisat al-Fulk. So how do these two figures, two members of the Khedive family, show up in Istanbul, namely Mustafa Fazl and Muhammad Abdul Halim? How did they actually appear in Istanbul? For the Egyptian Khedives, the succession regulation based on the principle of primogeniture was a decisive step towards consolidating the dynastic order, which required a change in the provisions of the decree of 1841. According to this decree, the reign should be inherited in seniority law. So any member of the Khedive family actually could become the ruling Khedive if he is the elder in the succession of the family. This meant the seniority law assigned the legitimacy of rule to the entire dynasty, not just to a certain branch of it. In response to the opposition of his relatives, Abbas tried to, in 1852, to change the succession in the sense of the primogeniture, which would have limited the succession to the eldest son of the incumbent ruler, in order to secure the succession to his elder son, Ilhami, and to exclude his uncle Sa'id and the sons of Ibrahim from the succession. His efforts were unsuccessful, Said's effort to introduce the prime minister were also unsuccessful. Only Ismail, so the Khedive Ismail, managed to change the line of succession in 1866. And Sultan Abdulaziz issued him a decree that abrogated the agnatic seniority and introduced the primogeniture in Egypt. So Ismail's older son, Mehmet Tawfiq, which is here, was installed as the legitimate successor. Ismail's half-brother, Mustafa Fazil, so the half-brother of Ismail, Mustafa Fazil, and Ismail's uncle, Abdul Halim, who had been first and second actually in the line of succession, and who turned against Khedive Ismail for this decision, were excluded from the line of succession and were forced into exile in Istanbul. So Khedive Ismail actually sent them into exile. So I mean, we see how the political development in Egypt actually led that these two very important figures for even for the Turkish music history in the late 19th century went to Istanbul. So wasn't it for that decree signed by Sultan Abdulaziz, these two members of the family wouldn't have necessarily gone to Istanbul. They even could have become the Khedives when their time has come. So this would be the first. One of the topics I want to speak about. The second one is the role of Arab dignitaries around Abdul Hamid II, Sultan Abdul Hamid. I want to start by showing you this slide, which shows someone that you, of course, know very well, and in Turkish music history and scholarship, he's of course a well-known figure, Musullu Osman, or Mulla Uthman al-Mawsili, Osman Dede. We now know a great deal about this singer, composer, and reciter of the Quran. So I'm going to spare you the details of his life, but I want to just to break the monotony, let's say, make you listen to some of his compositions. This is an Ilahi in Maqam Huzam, composed by Uthman al-Mawsili, and the lyrics are by Fuzuli, which say Waslun bana hayat, furqatun memat, Subhan al-Khaliq khalaq al-mawta wal-hayat, hijranina tahammul eden, waslun bulur, tuba liman yusa'iduhu as-sabru was-sabat. Waslun bana hayat verir gakin mehat, waslun bana hayat verir gakin mehat, Another example is a ghazal in Maqam Isfahan, in a recording which, according to one of the sources, which is Adil al-Bakri, the Iraqi historian, he says that that he saw the recording, the plate. It says that the one who plays the tambour accompanying Musullu Osman Dede is the great Jamil Bey. So unfortunately, I have to stop it here. So in order to move on with the topic. So actually, why I brought this example, it's just to move to to use Musallu Osman to introduce to you the personality, the man who introduced him actually to the Sultan in Istanbul, to Sultan Abdul Hamid II, and the one who supported him actually when he came to Istanbul, and who helped him make also this this thriving career in Istanbul. I'm speaking about Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi. So who was this guy, Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi, and what was he doing actually in Istanbul? He was the Sheikh of the Rifa'iyya order, Rifa'i. In 1879, he became the spiritual advisor to the young Sultan Abdul Hamid II and spent the rest of his life in the post in Istanbul until his death. He was born in 1850 in Syria, precisely in Khan Shaykhun, a small town in northern Syria. He came from a very poor family. Nevertheless, in his youth, he managed to establish contacts within influential circles of scholars and politicians in Damascus, Aleppo, and Istanbul, with whose support he became head of the descendants of the Prophet. These are the Naqib al-Ashraf, at the astonishing age of 24. So he was very young when he took that position. Actually, in order to understand the circumstances that led Abu al-Huda to settle down in Istanbul and become one of the closest confidants of the Sultan Abdul Hamid, one would have to go back in history as far as the beginning of the Tanzimat period under Mahmud II, and in particular the Edict of Gulhane of 1839 under the Sultan Abdul Majid I. The most significant clause of this edict was the enforcement of the rule of law for all subjects, including non-Muslims, by guaranteeing the right to life and property for all, as well as the elimination of the millet system in the Ottoman Empire. The purpose of the reforms was also to bind non-Muslims to the Sultan's government by giving dignitaries positive response from the by giving dignitaries among them opportunities for political participation. This policy met with a positive response from the Jews. In contrast, it was not very successful with Christians, especially in the Balkans, and when the political situation gave them a choice, most of them opted for the new nation states. The Edict of 1839 was then supplemented in the year 1856. The supplement took into account the demands of the great powers, especially after the Crimean War, for a much stronger sovereignty for ethnic communities within the empire, leading into strengthening the Christian middle class and increasing their economic and political power. During this time, the Grand Vizier Sadr Azam and high bureaucrats gained more power and were only responsible to a relatively passive ruler. In 1876, a constitution was adopted at short notice and a parliament was elected. This constitution once again made binding the equality of all subjects. This was intended to intercept the attempts of the major European powers to obtain over new privileges, even new privileges for their Christian proteges. This coincided, by the way, with the accession to power of Abdul Hamid II, one of the most controversial personalities who had ever held the dignity of the Sultan. In the field of foreign policy, Abdul Hamid succeeded in delaying the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire for a few more decades. Domestically, he governed absolutely. The palace was again the center of power. A sophisticated system of mutual spying on current and potential officials should inform the Sultan of the loyalty of his subordinates, especially the educated among them. Abdul Hamid increasingly used Islamic motives to legitimize the state. This earned him great sympathy from the Muslim population. He liked to be called the Khalif. He also adjusted the new situation by trying to integrate his Arab subjects into the Ottoman state, who now, by the way, make up much larger proportion of the population of the Ottoman Empire than before the losses in the Balkans. So now the Arabs are actually more than the European Ottoman sources. So the sons of Arab dignitaries were encouraged to graduate from the Sultan administration school and thus to enter the new bureaucratic careers. Cadet training was also open to them. Sultan Abdul Hamid tried to hold the empire together by emphasizing Islamic solidarity. So for many, Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi, whose picture we see or portrait we see in front of us, is considered one of the most important Arab propagandists for the Sultan's pan-Islamic policy. Abu al-Huda maintained an extensive network of informants across the entire Ottoman Empire and thus easy access to important information that formed the basis of his political memoranda. After he had established himself in the followers of the Sultan, he became the most important Rifa'iyya Shaykh in the entire empire. Abu al-Huda succeeded Abu al-Huda succeeded in spreading the Tariqa Rifa'iyya through the publication of new and old writings by the followers of the Rifa'iyya, as well as the admission into the Tariqa of many Arab scholars who came to Istanbul to request his mediation in various administrative matters. His network expanded rapidly and involved scholars mainly in northern Syria and northern Iraq. With its support of the Rifa'iyya in Iraq, the government in Istanbul aimed to integrate the majority Shiite population of the country into a Sunni Ottoman Empire and to weaken the influence of the more anti-centralist Qadiriyya. So these are the circumstances, so to say, that made somebody like Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi actually come and settle down in Istanbul. Again, political conditions. If we look at the circle around Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi, he is here in the middle. All of these people, among them also Mullah Uthman al-Mawsili, all these people frequented his lodge in the Rifa'iyya lodge in Istanbul, and had either nice voices, were singers or musicians, and had the chance also to meet and come into contact with Turkish musicians in Istanbul during that time. I'm not gonna explain the biographies of each and every one. I'm just gonna let you listen to one of the very famous vocal pieces written by. So the text is actually by Abu al-Huda al-Sayyadi in two versions, and you would see the relationship between these two recordings. One is by Sheikh Hussam al-Din Effendi. The song is called Mevlaya Ya Shams al-Huda, my Lord, you the son of the right path, which I don't know, could be accounted as as maybe a shawl, since it's in Arabic language. And Sheikh Hussam al-Din Effendi, he was the last Bosnian sheikh of the lodge in Bursa. We don't know much about his life, so here he's he's Rifa'i, he's singing this hymn.
Mevlaya ya şemsel huda دارك فداهلي قد هدى إذا التي وذي التي رجوت منك المدد يا الله بذلتي وذي التي رجوت منك المدد مولاي.
Now we listen to the same shawl by Fuad Khantumani, who was one of the greatest singers in Halab. So again, to finish with this, I mean, wasn't it for Sultan Abdul Hamid's policy with the pan-Islamism? Actually, somebody like Abu Saidi wouldn't have come to Istanbul, or we had no reason to go there, and the Rifa'iyya order wouldn't have gained that power at that time, and he wouldn't have all these followers. So it's again political reasons that made this kind of this connection at least also thrive. We could also mention the role of Ahmad Izzat al-Abid, who was a Syrian politician and also very close to the Sultan Abdul Hamid II. But I mean, he's not a musician. He has nothing to do with music. But he also introduced people, literati and musicians and singers and poets to the Sultan Abdul Hamid. And help them also start careers in Turkey. But for now, this is I mean, enough for the second topic. Now, the last topic would be about the traces and the process of musical exchange. I mean, now we know that there was a musical exchange, but where do we see that other than these anecdotes and information in the biographical historical sources or in the materials? Are there any traces for that musical exchange? Actually, we can start in a very early time. I mean, comparatively, of course, earlier time. So we have here two manuscripts. The one on the left is the famous song text collection attributed to Hakim Bashi. Sanduqatul Ma'arif, if I'm not mistaken, was the title of the. It has at the end a list of pieces and a list of the names of the famous usular. So here we have the names of the Arabic usul. So Bayani Asami Usulat Arab, which lists 24, 16, Mukhammas, Murabba, Muhajjar, Mudawwar, Sanjaqi, Marfu' Darj, and so on. So actually, we can see that the people were aware of the musical meters, the usul that Arabs used. The same on the other side. Actually, we have this manuscript from Syria, a song text collection by Kubaysi, in which he lists also 25 Turkish usulat or usular against 7 so-called Arabic usul. If we search deep into, I mean, in song text collections, I mean, one has really to spend time looking and reading all song text collections and look for Arabic texts. We find actually a great deal of Arabic songs. Many of the things that you see here, actually, I owe to my colleague and dear friend Malik Sharif, who was working at the Project Corpus Musica Ottomanicae and was responsible for the anthologies and text edition. So whenever he encountered an Arabic text, he ran to me and says, "Here, Salah Eddin, here's another Arabic text in a Turkish song text selection." So I started collecting these things thanks to him. But actually, I also have much more to show. So I'm not going to comment on each and every one, but as you see here, wherever you look, in manuscripts in the Nadir Eserler or in Paris, there are always Arabic texts and Arabic songs hidden here and there. So actually, if this shows anything, then it shows that that Arabic songs or songs in Arabic language were also part of the repertoire. I'm not speaking about the songs in Arabic language that were composed by Turks in Arabic language, so to say the Shol or something similar. No, I'm speaking of pieces. So for example, here we say we read Naqsh Sama'i Beiruti. So it is from Beirut, as well as here Naqsh Beiruti. I mean, there are indications that one has to look more deep into. Here are some more examples also for songs, just to give you an impression. I will actually now stay a little bit, dwell on this example. On the right, we see the same song found in a Turkish collection, song text collection. Here it's in Arabic song text, again by Kubaysi. The text says "Ya kasa jismi ad-dana," which is a piece in Mahur. I mean, it's a Sama'i, Yuruk Sama'i, as we find in the Turkish source, and it's in Maqam Mahur as well. Here also it's in Mahur, Yukruk, and we have more information in the Turkish source, which is the Terennum. So we shouldn't be actually, we shouldn't wonder, because Yuruk is Yuruk Sama'i. It's just the way the Arabs write it, Yugruk. It's the Yuruk Sama'i, and it's six unit rhythmic cycle. So Duntek, Tek, Duntek in both cases. This piece also appears in more collections, which is attributed to Sheikh Hussein or Sheikh Hassan. I mean, you find these two attributions. So again, here we see that there are also more information. This is a different version. This is not anymore in Mahur. It's the same piece, but I mean the same text, but this time it's in Fasli Ajam Ashiran. I mean in Ajam Ashiran. Here we see it also Dar Maqami Ajam Ashiran. So these are two Ottoman-Turkish sources. Now the question is, do we have also traces of this version? So we have the Mahur one, but do we have also the Ajam Ashiran one in Arabic sources? This is the question, and we do have something in the Arabic source. So it's a different version, and the decisive moment are of course the names of the usul. He says it's Muhajjar and Navacht. In the Turkish sources, it says Devri Rivan and Devri Kabir. So it has two usuls, and this has also two usuls in the Arabic source, which says Muhajjar and Navacht. Nevertheless, the maqam to which the piece is attributed is here Neyriz. This shouldn't also, so it's not Negriz, it's Neyriz. It is actually the equivalent of Ajam, of Maqam Ajam, not Ajam Ashiran, of Maqam Ajam, but actually Ajam and Asham Ashiran were included in the same, usually in the same fasl in the Arabic song text collections. So this should actually not bother us at the moment. So we can actually say that it's the same piece. If we look at the text setting of the piece, I mean, we don't need to be bothered also by the wrong phonetic transcription of the Arabic text in Turkish. So we have, for example, Ya man kasa jismi dana in Arabic. In Turkish, we read Ya man kasa jismi zana. This is right. Then wa haramta ajfani ruqad in Turkish is Bakharam li'ayn ruqa. So it is actually shows that somebody who wrote these lyrics down, actually he was phonetically transcribing what he was hearing. Nevertheless, we see in the Ottoman source more information, as I said. So we have this, the performance instruction like Mukarrar. We have also the names of the usul at the places that they should occur. Here, this you sing over Devri Kabir, this you sing over Devri Rivan, as well as the terennums, Vai Janım, Vai Sultanım, Vai Hey Janım. Here it's a naqsh beste. In the Arab source, they don't give the genre, but the muwashah in general has the same setting as the beste or the murabba beste or the naqsh beste. So actually, we are talking now about the same piece. Should this bother us that Muhajjar and Nawaht are mentioned in the Arabic source, whereas Devri Kabir and Devri Rivan are given in the Ottoman source? Could there be still a connection between these usulat? This is what we can see here. So if we compare or contrast Devri Kabir, the Turkish Devri Kabir, with the Muhajjar, the Arab Muhajjar, we see that they both actually are 14 unit meters. The Devri Kabir goes dum dum tek teka dum tek dum ta he teka pardon. The Muhajjar goes dum dum tek. So we see actually that the last section of the usul they correspond to each other as well as the beginning. Here we can speak of these two. The 2-unit dum can be it's kind of a velvele in the Devri Kabir. So actually there's no reason to treat these both usuls as two different usuls. Most importantly, they are both 14 unit meters, and they differ in the accents, but the ending is together. The beginning is with 2 dums. So this is actually the most important thing: the beginning and the ending. What happens in the middle? The accents. They could be changed, but this is not a problem. But what about the other 2? What about Devri Rivan and Nawaht? So we know that Devri Rivan is 14, but Nawaht in the Arab music is actually a 7 unit meter. Is this a problem? Actually, we could put 2 cycles of Nawaht against 1 cycle of Devri Rivan. So if Devri Rivan goes dum tek tek, then the Nawaht would be dum tek tek dum tek and so on and so on and so forth. So they start together with the dum. Actually, if you divide the Devri Rivan into two halves, you would see that actually the only difference is this tek here instead of the dum. So it's dum tek tek. So we could actually deal with them as 2 Devri Hindi together if you want. So which corresponds to the Nawaht in Arabic. So again, this could be, as you see here, treated as the same usul. Now, this could be a single case. This what we have seen could be a single case, but do we find other examples which would actually show us that this is indeed not a mistake, or that actually these usuls do correspond? We have here an example from in the Rast Fasl or Nawbat Rast, again from Kubaisi and from this manuscript in Arab-Turkish, which is again a piece that attributed the same composer, Shaykh Hassan. We don't know much actually about him. Here it says Beste Devri Rivan Shaykh Hassan. The Arabic equivalent of it in the Arabic sources says Rast Nawaht. So this is again another example for or let's say a proof that Nawaht is indeed Devri Rivan, or pieces in Nawaht could be played in Turkey with the usul Devri Rivan. It's the same piece, by the way, Hadil Adhan Sirbi. It's the same piece also in the Turkish source. We have here information like Miyan in the Arabic sources.
Excuse me. Sorry, Salahuddin.
Yes.
Can I have something in here? When you analyze the compare the pieces, do you think the line of the Aruz Vezin matter, lyrics? Lyrics matters. Did you compare that?
We take also into consideration, of course, but actually we have the same text. It's the same Arabic text. So it's not the Turkish text and an Arabic text. They are both the same Arabic text in an Arabic song text collection and a Turkish song collection. So actually it's the same meter and everything is the same. It's just a question that when it is found in a Turkish text collection, the usul which is assigned to the piece is called devre revan, because if you write nawaht, maybe Turkish musicians, or I mean, they wouldn't know maybe what the nawaht usul is, whereas in the Arabic sources you have the same piece, but for the Arabs it's nawaht, so they call it devre revan. This is the only difference. I mean, but I mean, we see that that pieces appear in in the Arabic tradition as well as in the Turkish tradition. The question is, how famous were these pieces? This is something that we cannot answer now. I mean, many of these pieces also actually went into oblivion, so people forgot about them, or they were dropped from the repertoire. I want to share with you also another examples of now Turkish songs which are found in Arabic song text collections. So we do have, don't be also bothered by the wrong phonetic transcription in sometimes. So here we have an example of a piece in Sufyan in Makam Hijaz, which says, Hey Efendim, Hey Sultanım, Didim Doldu Yaşına, here it says, but actually the right Turkish text, if we try to identify this song, is this one, Ey Efendim, A Sultanım, Gözüm Doldu Yaş ile. Okay, and it is a piece in Hijaz Kar. It's a sharki by Çorlulu, I mean, attributed to Çorlulu according to Üstüne. And it is in Hijaz Kar and in Duyek. In Arabic, it's in Sufyan, but it's the same text. Even it goes further with the same text. So this is a source from the middle of the 19th century. Here we have a clear piece, I mean, written down of a Turkish song found in Arabic song text collection, which is itself a very interesting thing, showing this exchange actually in a good example. We don't not only have the Turkish text, but we have also something which people call the arud, which is something that you just ask about actually, Esra. So it is the meter. It is like a contrafactor. So it is Arabic text now composed over the Turkish melody, sung in this Hijaz Kar Sharki melody. So he says, Hey Efendim, Hey Sultanım. The Arabic text would say, Qom fadamdim thumma zamzam. Didim doldu yaşına, whatever this actually means. Bil mabasim wasqina. So this fits the Turkish meter perfectly and could be sung over this melody. Another example is this one, Acem Kurdi Yukruk. The text says, Bir güzele bende gönül, which is by Hamamizade Ismail the Effendi actually. So they don't give us the name in the Arabic sources. We have to look for that piece in the Turkish repertoire and find it and identify it. And it is actually the whole text that we find by Hashim Bey here. We find it also in this manuscript, from the same manuscript from Damascus. Another example is a piece which originally belonged to Ketani Zade Hafiz Mehmed Effendi, which is Sharki in Rast in Usul Ağır Aksak, Zülfünün Tari Şuağı. Also here you see Zülfünün Tari Şuağı or Şuağı. It's in Rast and in Aksak, not Ağır Aksak, Aksak in the Arabic sources. And we have the same text also here, not the whole text, but it stops with the second hane or the second strophe. So these are actually very interesting examples for Turkish repertoire which we find in Arabic sources. Now I want to come to the last example I want to share with you in this evening, which is a piece that is very famous in the Arab world, which is Muwashah in Maqam Hijaz and Usul Shanbar Muda'af, that is Chifte Chamber, with the title Barazat Shamsul Kamal, the sun of perfection arose or came up, the title of the first words of the song. This Muwashah has been reportedly actually composed by Abu Khalil al-Qabbani. This is the one that you see. His picture is on the poster of today's lecture. And now you will see the reason why. Because for me, actually, Abu Khalil al-Qabbani, I mean, he is the impersonation of the musical exchange. For me, this is something that actually we still did not deal with in the Arab world. We deal with or we treat Abu Khalil al-Qabbani as a genius composer and a genius, which he is, by the way, but nobody was interested into looking where did he get actually the ideas for his pieces. Was he influenced by by Turkish Ottoman musicians and colleagues? I'm not going to delve into his biography because it's actually nowadays it's very good and well documented. Recently, Tassir Khalaf just published 2 books about the life and work and the theatrical activities of Abu Khalil al-Qabbani, because he was considered the father of music theater in the Arab world. So this Muwashah actually is part of a play, of a theatrical play, even played in front of the Sultan. Reportedly. When I listened to this piece in the first time, I was astonished about the beauty of this the piece and the strange amount of terennum and some of the exclamations in Turkish, like umrum, canim, efendim, and so on in the text. So that made me think it is actually interesting to see if this piece is not an adoption of the Turkish Ottoman-Turkish piece. So and the use of Maqam Hijaz is normal, is nothing new, but the use of a chief chamber was actually in the 19th century, early 19th century, late 18th century was a new usul which was introduced actually under Ottoman influence. So this we know, but did somebody compose music on from scratch in this usul, or were they influenced? Let's listen to the recording of this piece sung by Darwish al-Hariri, who is the pupil Egyptian. In Egypt, he was the pupil of Abu Khalil al-Qabbani during his stay in Egypt. Let's have a listen. So I don't know if you could recognize the piece. I admit it's not that easy. You may also tell me at the end of the lecture, actually, you are totally wrong. This has nothing to do with the Turkish origin. I believe to be the origin. So I actually could identify this piece as the source of inspiration, which is Düşmesin miskin gönüller, Zülfü Anbur Bulara. It's a piece by Zaharia or Mir Jamil. I don't want to also delve into that subject. Is it what's the real name and who he was and so on? But nevertheless, it was a very well-known piece in the Turkish music tradition, and it is also in ağır chamber, so çifte chamber. Let's say. I mean, it's a heavy chamber, but it's in Makam Hijazi Humayun. The other one was only in Hijaz. We do have this difference here. Let's listen directly to the song, so you still have the other one in your ears, sung by the great Munir Nuruddin Selçuk. So I want to stop here and try to convince you of the relationship between these two pieces. I admit it is hard to hear the relationship from the first time. So for that reason, actually, I prepared a transcription of both pieces and put them over each other. Please pay attention to the passages, or at least in the Turkish version, which is stated above. I mean, here, I can show you this before I start. So this is the Turkish version, this is the Arabic version. They are both played in MIDI, by the way. The upper one is with the nay or sound, which is similar to the nay. And this is Oud. So you can hear the two melodies simultaneously and see how they develop. And please pay attention to the text and to the terennums. Where do they start and how the text finishes and so on, to the details if you want, and then maybe we can discuss about this later. So here it starts. Okay. Yes. So, I mean, if we look at that that piece, let me show maybe the yes here. I mean, if we look together at the piece, we see that first of all, I mean, in general, this is a murabba beste. Okay, so the form exactly fits with the form of this muwashshah. It's sung like A, B, and then the khane, and then comes the melody, the same melody with the fourth line. So the first, the second, and the fourth line are the same. The third line is the miyan khane, let's say. Exactly the same form is the muwashshah of Abu Khalil al-Qabbani. One thing. The other thing is that the piece starts with an exclamation. Ah, dushmesin. Abu Khalil starts with the word which is ahim. This doesn't belong to the text Barazat Shams al-Kamal. So he starts with an exclamation as well. If we go further, we see. I want to stop the. Sorry. Yes, and share this with you. Yes. So if you see here, for example, here where the tarannum or the word ah also is mentioned in the Arabic version, you have the words aman, aman, and the text. So the real text goes then again together. Here min sana, here with zulfi, in the Turkish version. Here the text is going together, but then you see this place where the tarannum starts. In the Turkish version, it says umrim, janim, aman, ah, yelelel, and so on. In the Arabic version, it says umrim, afendim, aman, ah, or ya, lelelele, and so on. The tarannum stays together. Even at the end, Abu Khalil even takes the word beli yarim. He takes the word beli yarim in the Arabic version. Beli mirim, he says beli yarim again. And then he continues with the text exactly at the same place where the dost, I mean, the last word of the tarannum in Arabic is dost. He continues with the text zulfi and the Arabic again with the same place, min sana. And then he starts with or ends with the tarannum vai, and the Arabic version is umrim, aman, aman. Okay? And this, I took only the first, the first khane, the first line of each, and try to show you this. The relationship between the pieces. Of course, we cannot say that it's the same composition, but if he was not influenced by this very piece by Zaharia, then I don't know. I mean. The evidence is clear as I can say. And by the way, the version that came down to us is the one that Abu Khalil Qabbani sings, is the one that we know in the Arab world. I have to say that the one that you sing in Turkey today, the one that we listen to, is not necessarily the one that was actually sung in the 19th century, because, for example, when I showed you these notations, there were also differences in the notated versions of this the Astative. So maybe there was, earlier a clearer relationship between these two pieces. Not to mention that actually the similarity even is closer in the Miyan khane, which I didn't have time to transcribe for you. But I guess the evidence is, or at least my idea is clear. So that's the end of my talk tonight. Thank you very much for your attention. I would be glad to hear any questions or opinions. Just to sum a few things up. This is not everything that you've seen. It's actually much more than that. The material is overwhelming, and it is important that we both actually Arab musicologists and Turkish musicologists, that we start looking beyond our own borders, that see how, I mean, far-reaching the influence of the Ottoman-Turkish repertoire, also the Arabic. I mean, we know today that we learn the peshrevs and the sama'i in the Arab world. It's a major part of our curricula, musical curricula at the conservatories, but this is a development actually of the 20th century, let's say. And we have underestimated, as far as I'm concerned, the influence and the mutual influence of the centuries before, especially in the 19th century. So there is a great deal of work that we should both maybe do. So thank you very much again, and I'm curious to hear your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salah Eddin. Great inferences and too much information we learned from you. Thank you for your studies. You add very much information, either Arabic music or Ottoman music for our music. Thank you for that one more time. Yeah. We have some comments and some questions. I have it now. Professor Ruhiye Yangil said, I'm so grateful listening to my distinguished colleague, Dr. Maraga. Welcome, dear friend. Songül Karahasanoğlu hocamız. Merhaba, Dr. Salah Eddin Maraqa. Nice to see you again. Professor Ayangil, beginning from Ali Pasha's governory, the reciprocally effectiveness between Ottoman-Turkish musicians and Egyptian music musicians should be researched in a frame of doctorate thesis. He recommend. Ayangil says, oh, Molla Uthman el-Mevsili, rest in peace. Songül Karahasanoğlu, do you think the Arab-Turkish musical exchange is still going on? She asks.
Yes, actually, it is still going on, and we have now in the Arab world, especially in the pop culture. I mean, so now we leave the domain of the classical musical culture. We have actually great influence of Turkish music on Arabic music. And I believe also on the other as well, I mean, vice versa. There's actually a tendency to imitate even the style of playing and so on, that I even start to call, just like there's the term arabesque, I start to take Turkesque, or because actually, even in the, I mean, if you talk about our domain, Qanun players in the Arab world now started to abandon their Arabic instrument and play Turkish instruments with Turkish technique, which was a good thing. But nevertheless, they still have their own style. So, of course, we start even to have now, I mean, great musicians on instruments that actually were never part of our musical ensembles. For example, like the clarinet, playing Arabic music in a very Turkish way, let's say. So actually, we see a lot, but that's thanks to the sphere now. I mean, we are open to each other more than before, through YouTube and Facebook, and we're much more connected. So the influences, but I mean, this is still going on. I don't know from the Turkish side if there are influences to similar influences. This I'm not sure about, but I know in the pop culture, yeah, there is. I mean, a great influence. There are even songs sung in Turkish, composed by Arab pop composers and so on, and the other way around as well. Yeah. And please let me also say hello to Songül Hanem, and again to Ruhiye Yangil. And I mean, he calls me his colleague. Actually, I'm his pupil. I mean, we all learn from Ruhi Bey and from his works, and he is a great scholar. So, I mean, that he counts me among his colleagues is a great honor for me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Professor Engels has a question. In the light of those close relationships between Turks and Arabs, do we know the word that describes the shugul form? How rare does it go?
Actually, I want to put maybe a thesis, or let's say not a thesis, I mean a theory for the term shugul, because it is. I know that in Turkish scholarship, the term is very much connected with Zekai Dede. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it is the case, or at least he's the most prominent shugul composer in Turkish music history. If you search the songtext collections, the Arabic songtext collections, actually you find the term shugul, or you come across the term shugul so frequently. So yes, so for example, the songs that are attributed, or the hymns that are attributed, for example, to the Imam Shushtari, the Sufi Imam Shushtari, I mean, they are called in the repertoire Ashghal al-Shushtari, the shughals of Shushtari. Even Mashaqa uses the term shughul when he speaks of pieces. So I mean, so in the Arab world, it is attested before the 19th century, the term shughul. This is definitely. How it became, I mean, why that term in Turkish music became the, actually, what is a shughul? It's an ilahi in Arabic language. It's just, yeah, that's the only difference between ilahi and the shughul. It's in Arabic language. In shughul doesn't designate any specific work, but it happens to be the term used to describe the hymns, especially by Ash-Shushtari and other Sufi personalities. So maybe that could be the source of that word.
I see. Korkut Alp Bilgin, I think during the presentation, you called Münir Bey sings, I think. Korkut Alp Bilgin said that this is not Münir Bey, but Alaaddin Bey. Yeah, Ayangel also said it, Alaaddin Yavaşça.
Alaaddin Yavaşça. Then they must be, I had this also, I couldn't recognize the voice, but I mean, if they say so, then they are of course right. Yes, and of course, I mean, now when they say that, it's clear that it is the voice of Alaaddin Yavaşça, of course.
Okay.
Thank you very much for thanks for the
correction. Yeah, thank you. Kemal Karasmanoğlu says, thanks, it was a very useful presentation.
Thank you.
Professor Ayangel, thanks a lot for this invaluable information and wonderful presentation indeed, Mr. Maraga. Valuable information and wonderful presentation indeed, Mr. Maraga. Gözde Çolakoğlu, who is our spokeswoman, thanks a lot, Mr. Maraga, for this presentation. So.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Let me please at the end also thank the audience and thank Serkan Gunalchin also for his help, Salah Eddin Maraqa'nın for making the connection possible, and you, especially dear Esra, for your kind chairing this lecture. And I'm glad that I had this possibility to get in touch with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's say good evening, good night to everybody watching us. I would like to announce the next presentation. Actually, Professor Dr. Abdullah Akat will be with us the next session, I think. I mean the next seminar. Who is from Istanbul University State Conservatory Müzikoloji Department. I would like to say in Turkish, if you let me. Profesör Doktor Abdullah Akat bir sonraki seminerde TUMAC seminerlerinde bizimle olacak. Kendisi İstanbul Üniversitesi Devlet Konservatuarı Müzikoloji Bölümünden 2001 yılında kendisinin de ifadesiyle hayli başarılı bir yıl geçirdiğini söylemişti. Gerçekten de öyle. Mesela 2021 yılında ICTM, International Council for Traditional Music bünyesindeki faaliyetleri hayli başarılı geçmiş ve Karadeniz Kültür Havzası'nda müzik ve dans temalı alt çalışma grubu, Güneydoğu Avrupa'da müzik ve dans çalışma grubu bünyesine kabul edilmiş, onaylanmış ve kendisinin liderliğinde çalışmaya başlamış. Bu önemli bir gelişme kendisi açısından. Ve 2018 yılından beri sekreterliğini yürüttüğü Türk Dünyası'nda Müzik Çalışma Grubu Başkanlığı'na seçilmesi önemli. TUMAC seminerleri bünyesinde ise sunum başlığı Eskideki Yeniyi Keşfetmek, Karadeniz Müzik Arşivi'nin 10 yıllık serüveni olacak. Bunu da ilettikten sonra herkese tekrar iyi akşamlar diliyoruz. Katkılarınız için teşekkür ediyoruz. Salah Eddin Maraqa'ya çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Thank you very much for your contribution again and again. Good night, sir. Thank you.